Seniors 5 common foods that quietly destroy muscle after 60. Have you ever woken up one morning and just felt off? Not in pain, not injured, but something was different. You bent down to tie your shoelaces and your legs felt like they were wrapped in sandbags. Getting up from your favorite chair took an extra second, and as you walked across the room, you noticed your steps weren't quite as steady as they used to be. No fall, no warning, but a quiet weight, like gravity, pulling just a little harder than usual. And in that moment, maybe you paused. Was I always this slow? It sneaks up on us, this silent shift. What once felt effortless starts requiring thought. What used to be second nature begins to demand caution. The truth is, this slow change doesn't always come with pain. Sometimes it comes with silence, with subtle heaviness, with tasks that feel just slightly out of reach. And while most people chalk it up to getting older, there's something else going on beneath the surface. It's called sarcopenia, a medical condition that sounds more complicated than it is. But it's real, and it's serious. It means your muscle mass is shrinking, your strength is fading, and your body, without you even noticing, is gradually becoming less capable of doing the things you love. Independence doesn't vanish in a day. It disappears little by little, and sarcopenia is often the thief. After age 50, your body naturally loses about 1% to 2% of muscle each year. That might not sound like much, but over the course of a decade, it adds up to 10 to 20% gone. That's the difference between confidently walking upstairs or gripping a railing for dear life, between rising from a chair with ease or pushing with both arms just to stand. But here's what most people don't realize. It's not just time doing the damage. It's also your plate. That's right. Some of the most common foods sitting in your kitchen right now, the ones you've eaten for years, may be quietly speeding up that muscle loss. And the scariest part, these foods don't carry warning labels. They don't come in red packages that say danger. In fact, some of them are even advertised as healthy. We've been told they're safe, wholesome, even heart-friendly. But for your muscles, they may be doing real harm. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain. We'll uncover 5 everyday foods, often labeled innocent, even nutritious, that are silently contributing to muscle loss after 60. If you've felt weaker lately, more tired, or simply less steady on your feet, what you learn here could change everything. Let's begin with one of the most familiar places in your home, the breakfast table. Picture this. The sunlight filters in through the window. You settle into your usual chair, a morning paper nearby, maybe the soft hum of the radio playing in the background. It's peaceful, comfortable, just like it's always been. You reach for the same loaf of bread you've bought for years. Soft, white, dependable. 2 slices in the toaster, a little butter, maybe some jam. A mug of coffee beside it. That first bite is warm, nostalgic, grounding. But inside your body, something entirely different is happening. What seems like a gentle morning ritual is setting off a chain reaction in your metabolism. That innocent-looking toast made from white bread is rapidly breaking down into sugar, flooding your bloodstream with glucose in just minutes. Your insulin spikes, inflammation stirs, and beneath the surface, your muscle cells begin to suffer. White bread, pastries, crackers, pasta, cookies. These refined flour foods are household staples. They're easy. They're convenient, they're comforting, but here's the real problem, they're empty. During processing, the wheat used to make refined flour is stripped of its outer layers, the parts that contain fiber vitamins and essential minerals like magnesium and B vitamins. What's left is a fine, starchy powder that behaves like sugar once it enters your body. It digests quickly, it burns fast, and it leaves almost nothing behind to feed your muscles. Now imagine starting your day like this. You've gone 8 or 9 hours without eating overnight. Your muscles are already in a mild breakdown state from fasting. And the first thing you give them, not protein, not hydration, not something nourishing. You give them sugar. It's like running your car engine with no oil. It might still turn on, but you're wearing it down every time. Over time, this pattern leads to something called anabolic resistance. That means your muscles stop responding as well to growth signals. They struggle to repair themselves. And without the raw materials, protein, minerals, stable energy, they simply begin to fade. It's not just about feeling full. It's about what you're fueling your body with. So if your go-to breakfast is white toast and coffee, it may be time to rethink it. That white toast we talked about, it doesn't just start your day with a sugar spike. It sets off a chemical storm inside your body. Imagine this every time you eat a slice of refined white bread or a pastry or even certain boxed cereals, your blood sugar shoots up like a rocket. Your body in response releases a wave of insulin to pull that sugar back down. But this rise and crash pattern, it doesn't just tire you out. Over time, it creates a state of chronic low-grade inflammation, an invisible fire quietly smoldering in your system. And that's terrible news for your muscles. Inflammation, much like rust on an old garden gate, doesn't announce its presence right away. It spreads slowly, silently. It begins to chip away at the delicate fibers in your muscles, weakening them one thread at a time. At first, you won't notice, but then one day, you'll lift a laundry basket and your arms will tremble, or your legs will quiver halfway up the stairs. And you'll wonder, when did this get so hard? And here's where it gets even more frustrating. These same insulin spikes that come from refined carbs also interfere with your body's ability to use protein, the very building block of muscle. So even if you're doing your best eating grilled chicken, adding eggs to breakfast, sipping a protein shake, your body can't effectively absorb and deliver those nutrients to your muscles. It's too busy managing blood sugar chaos, and the result, you're gaining weight, but not strength. The scale might inch up, your clothes might fit tighter, but your muscles beneath it all are weakening. It's called sarcopenic obesity, when fat replaces muscle without you even realizing it. And it's far more dangerous than it sounds, because with less muscle, even small tasks become exhausting. One major study from the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism found that diets high in refined carbohydrates were linked not just to insulin resistance, which increases risk for type 2 diabetes, but also to accelerated muscle atrophy in people over 60. That's muscle loss, speeding up. And it's not just your muscles that suffer. Think about your joints. When muscle fades, the burden shifts to your joints. Knees, hips, ankles, suddenly they're working overtime to support weight that strong muscle used to carry. Over months, over years, that pressure adds up. It's subtle at first, a stiffness in your knees, a twinge in your back. But eventually standing up from the couch feels like hiking a hill. You're not lazy. You're not weak. Your body is just tired from compensating. But the story doesn't have to end there. This isn't about fear. It's about freedom. And freedom starts with choice. You don't have to toss out bread and pasta forever, but making smarter swaps can give your body the fuel it needs to fight back. Instead of white bread, reach for 100% whole grains like sprouted wheat, rye, oat, or Ezekiel bread. These keep the fiber and the minerals that help regulate blood sugar and fight inflammation. They digest more slowly, keeping your insulin levels balanced and your energy steady. If you love pasta, don't worry, just shift to whole wheat versions, or even better, explore protein-rich options like lentil pasta, chickpea pasta, or quinoa pasta. These alternatives aren't just trendy. They're powerful, packed with fiber plant-based protein and essential amino acids that your aging muscles crave. And here's where it really starts to add up. Pair your carbs with lean protein and healthy fats. Think grilled salmon and a handful of roasted vegetables, or chicken with olive oil, avocado, or a few walnuts. This balance slows digestion, stabilizes blood sugar, and sends a clear message to your body. These muscles matter. Let's keep them. Even small changes made consistently have big impact, because every meal is more than a bite of food. It's a message to your body. Are we feeding fatigue, or are we feeding strength? But we're not done yet. There's another hidden culprit. And this one may be sitting right next to that toast on your breakfast table. Picture it. The same warm morning light pours across your kitchen. You've toasted your bread, maybe added a smear of jam. You pour your usual cup of coffee, and then, almost without thinking, you reach for that tall, chilled glass of orange juice. You've done this for years. It feels wholesome, refreshing, maybe even healthy. After all, orange juice comes from fruit. It's packed with vitamin C. It boosts your immune system. That's what we've been told for decades. But here's the hidden truth. Fruit juice, especially. Orange juice is one of the most misunderstood foods in your kitchen. Yes, it starts with real fruit. But the moment it's squeezed and filtered and poured into a glass, something crucial disappears: the fiber. That natural buffer that slows down sugar absorption, stabilizes insulin, and helps deliver nutrients gradually to your cells. Gone. What's left is a liquid sugar bomb. An 8-ounce glass of orange juice contains roughly 22 grams of sugar that's over 5 teaspoons. And without the fiber, it hits your bloodstream almost instantly. 1 minute, you're sipping something that seems light and nourishing. The next, your blood sugar is spiking like you just ate half a candy bar. And remember what we said earlier, that cycle of spikes and crashes doesn't just affect your energy, it blocks nutrient absorption, it weakens your muscle repair systems, it drains your insulin sensitivity, and it leads over time to inflammation that erodes your strength from the inside out. So what's the better move? Don't abandon fruit, just eat the whole thing. An orange with its peel intact, a handful of berries, a crisp apple with skin. These deliver nutrients the way nature intended, with fiber, water, vitamins, and minerals in harmony. They give your body time to absorb, balance, and build. They support your blood sugar, your joints, your digestion, and yes, your muscles. Because as you age, it's not just what you eat, it's how your body responds to what you eat. And with every meal, every choice, you're either building strength or slowly giving it away. Let me know when you're ready for the next section, where we'll reveal food number 2 in the muscle-destroying lineup, and that sweet glass of orange juice. It may seem harmless part of a morning ritual passed down through generations, but without the natural fiber found in whole fruits, the juice becomes something very different. A sugar surge dressed in a healthy disguise. Let's break this down. Fiber, that quiet, unsung hero, is your body's natural shield. It slows the rate at which sugar is absorbed into your bloodstream. It keeps your digestive system steady and gives your body time to respond gently and efficiently. But remove that fiber, as is done in juicing, and your protection vanishes. In its place, you're left with a flood of liquid sugar that hits your bloodstream like a tidal wave. What follows is a familiar yet dangerous cycle. Your blood sugar spikes, your pancreas scrambles to release insulin, trying to pull it back down. Then just as quickly you crash. You feel it as fatigue, brain fog, sluggishness that settles into your muscles. And here's the critical part: when your blood sugar rides this roller coaster every morning, your muscles pay the price in silence. How? This repeated spike and crash pattern creates something called systemic inflammation, a state of low-grade chronic irritation throughout your body. It's not dramatic, you won't feel a sudden pain or get a fever, but deep within your tissues, that inflammation begins to erode your strength, slowly, relentlessly. Imagine inflammation like corrosion in a pipe. Over time, it weakens the structure. It interferes with how your muscles absorb amino acids, the building blocks they need to repair and grow. And just like that, even if you're eating healthy meals later in the day, the benefit doesn't reach your muscles the way it should. They're left underfed, underrepaired, underpowered. And there's another layer. The primary sugar in fruit juice is fructose. Unlike glucose, which is used by your muscles and brain for energy, fructose is processed almost entirely by your liver. When consumed in excess, as it often is with juice, that liver gets overwhelmed. It starts converting fructose into fat. Over time, this can lead to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a condition increasingly common among seniors, even those who never drink alcohol. But here's the more immediate concern for your strength: that liver overload triggers even more inflammation, especially around the muscles and joints. So now your system isn't just tired, it's inflamed, nutrient-deprived, and working overtime to manage sugar it never asked for in the first place. And if that wasn't enough, here's a subtle but powerful twist. Fructose doesn't signal fullness. That's right, unlike proteins, fats, or even complex carbs, fructose slips past your brain's fullness sensors. You drink the juice, feel momentarily satisfied, and then suddenly you're hungry again. So you reach for a muffin, or a handful of cereal, or another snack. Not because you need it, but because your body was never told to stop. It's a cycle of overnourishment and undernourishment. At the same time, calories without true fuel, sugar without substance, and your muscles. They're the ones left starving. Now you might be wondering, isn't drinking juice the same as eating fruit? Not even close. Let's take oranges. When you eat a whole orange, you chew. Your body works. You get fiber, you get water, you stop after 1 or maybe 2. But a single glass of orange juice that often contains the sugar of 3, 4, sometimes even 5 oranges and none of the fiber to slow it down. Your body wasn't designed to absorb that much sugar in one sitting, especially not on an empty stomach, and especially not without the balancing effect of chewing and digestion. And here's the bigger danger. Over time, that overload creates insulin resistance, a state where your cells stop responding to insulin. And when that happens, your muscles can no longer absorb the amino acids they need. So even if you're eating high-protein meals, the benefits are trapped, blocked from reaching the very tissues that need them most. So what can you do? You don't need to give up flavor. You don't need to live without joy. You just need to make a better swap. Instead of drinking juice, try blending the whole fruit into a smoothie. Keep the skin and pulp whenever you can. Add low fructose fruits like berries, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries. These come with powerful antioxidants and a much gentler sugar load. They help your body fight inflammation rather than fuel it. Want something refreshing with breakfast? Skip the juice and pour a glass of water with lemon slices or cucumber. Or try herbal teas like ginger hibiscus or chamomile hydrating healing and easy on your system. These aren't drastic changes. They're small shifts that signal to your body, I hear you. I'm ready to support you. Because here's the truth, what we drink matters just as much as what we eat. Your muscles, those powerful yet vulnerable fibers, are shaped not only by exercise and protein, but also by the environment you create for them. When you reduce inflammation, when you stabilize blood sugar, when you nourish your cells rather than flood them with sugar, that's when true strength begins. And that's why even something as simple as familiar as beloved as a glass of orange juice can quietly become a thief of your strength if you don't pay attention. But now you are paying attention. And coming up next, we turn our focus to something even more surprising, a food many seniors rely on for protein convenience and flavor. But behind the smoky flavor and pink slices lies a hidden risk, one that could be slowly sabotaging your muscle health. Stay with me. The next bite might surprise you. Coming off that quiet danger hiding in a glass of juice, we now open the refrigerator door to face something even more unexpected. Something you may be eating out of convenience, even believing it supports your strength. But for millions of older adults, it's doing the exact opposite. You might be watching your sugar staying active and doing everything right, yet still find yourself feeling weaker, stiffer, or more fatigued than before. If that sounds familiar, the real culprit might not be in your habits, but in your deli drawer. Let's talk about processed meats, ham slices, cold cuts, sausages, salami, bacon, all those convenient, ready-to-eat proteins stacked neatly in plastic packaging that promise ease and taste with every bite. For many people over 60, these have become a staple not out of laziness, but out of routine. They're easy to grab when cooking a full meal feels like too much. They're affordable. They last longer than fresh meats. And on the surface, they seem like a practical protein solution. But behind that pink, seasoned, smoky slice lies a quiet threat to your muscle health. Every single time you eat processed meats, your muscles pay a price. And unlike the discomfort of a pulled muscle or the sting of a fall, this damage is silent, subtle. It compounds slowly meal after meal, year after year, until one day the strength you used to take for granted begins to slip away. To understand why we need to look beneath the surface into what processed meats are really made of. Let's begin with the chemicals. Most processed meats are loaded with nitrates and nitrites, chemical preservatives used to keep the color pink, extend shelf life, and ward off bacteria. But once inside your body, these compounds don't just sit quietly. They generate oxidative stress, a biological condition where unstable molecules known as free radicals attack your healthy cells, including your muscle cells. Think of oxidative stress as rust forming inside your body. At first, it's invisible, but slowly it breaks things down. Cell membranes, muscle fibers, connective tissues. Your body tries to fight it, but over time, especially as we age, that fight gets harder. And then comes inflammation. Just like refined sugars and juices trigger it, these preservatives also stir up a chronic low-grade inflammation that your body can't shake off. It weakens your immune defenses. It slows down healing. And most crucially for your mobility, it disrupts muscle repair. Your body is constantly working to rebuild and renew muscle fibers. But when it's under inflammatory stress, that process is interrupted. And we're just getting started. Most processed meats are also full of unhealthy fats, especially saturated fats. And in lower quality brands, even trans fats. These are the fats that clog your arteries, reduce circulation, and increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. But here's the link most people miss when your circulation is compromised. Your muscles get less oxygen and fewer nutrients. And what happens to a muscle starved of oxygen? It weakens, it fatigues faster, it recovers slower, it shrinks. So maybe you've noticed something lately. Your walks leave you winded. Your legs feel heavier, your arms ache a little more after lifting groceries. Maybe it takes a moment longer to get up from the couch, and you chalk it up to aging. But what if it's something you're eating? Then there's the sodium, the salt that hides in every processed slice. It's what preserves the meat, gives it flavor, keeps it from spoiling. But in your body, too much sodium draws water out of your tissues. It dehydrates your muscles often without you realizing it. And what happens to dry muscles? They lose elasticity, they cramp, they stiffen, and most dangerously, they become prone to injury. You might have felt it after that ham sandwich, unusual thirst fatigue, maybe even a cramp later that day. That's not coincidence. That's your body sending up a red flag. You see, hydrated muscles are healthy muscles, and when they're dry, they don't fire properly. They don't stabilize your joints, and when they fail to support your movements, your risk of falling goes up dramatically. Now you might be thinking, but it's still protein, right? Yes, but not all protein is created equal. Here's the hard truth. The protein in processed meats is often diluted, mixed with fillers, flours, starches, the kind of additives that weaken the amino acid profile and make the protein less effective. Compared to a simple grilled chicken breast or a boiled egg, that pretty pink slice of deli meat delivers far less usable nutrition. Your muscles don't just need protein, they need high-quality bioavailable protein, the kind your body can actually use to rebuild and grow. So what's the solution? You don't have to give up convenience or taste, but it's time to get back to real food. When possible, choose fresh, unprocessed proteins. Things like grilled or baked chicken breast, roasted turkey, lean beef cuts like sirloin or eye of round, soft-boiled or scrambled eggs, tofu or tempeh for plant-based options, lentils and beans spiced and sautéed for flavor. Cook a little extra when you feel strong and save it for the days you don't. A small portion of clean, high-quality protein is worth far more than a stack of deli slices pretending to be healthy. And remember, your muscles don't just respond to exercise, they respond to what you feed them. Every meal is a message. Every bite is a signal, either to build or to break down. So the next time you open your fridge and reach for that packet of salami or those easy slices of ham, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, am I feeding my strength? Or feeding the slow fade of it? Because the difference between feeling strong and feeling fragile often begins not in the gym, but in the kitchen. And the sooner we see past the label and into the truth, the better chance we have of staying independent, active, and vibrant at every age. Up next, the last food on our list, a kitchen regular that often hides behind a healthy image, but can rob your muscles of vital support when you least expect it. Let's uncover it together. So now that we've opened the door to what to avoid, let's walk confidently toward what to include. Because rebuilding muscle after 60 isn't just about subtraction, it's about thoughtful, nourishing additions. The best part, it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need a 5-star kitchen or chef skills. You don't even need to spend hours meal prepping. Roast your proteins, grill them, bake them. Choose whatever method feels manageable, because when you start with whole food proteins, you're feeding your muscles exactly what they've been craving all along. Complete amino acid profiles that rebuild tissue, not feed inflammation. If you love seafood, you're in luck. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines are more than just tasty. They're powerhouse foods for aging bodies. Not only do they provide high-quality protein, but they're also packed with omega-3 fatty acids, natural anti-inflammatories that cushion your joints, support your heart, and protect your muscles against breakdown. Studies published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition show that older adults who consume omega-3s regularly maintain more lean muscle mass than those who don't. And let's not forget the humble egg, a quiet hero in the kitchen. Affordable, easy, reliable. Each egg is nature's perfect protein package, offering not just amino acids, but also vitamin B12, vitamin D, and choline, which are vital for muscle coordination and nerve function. A boiled egg at breakfast or a veggie-packed omelet for dinner can provide your body with real functional fuel. If you're leaning more toward plant-based options, don't worry, plants can build muscle too. Lentils, chickpeas, black beans, and quinoa are all rich in plant protein and nutrients like iron and folate. Combine them with whole grains, nuts like almonds or walnuts, and healthy fats like olive oil, and you're giving your body the tools to repair and thrive without the salt preservatives or chemicals hidden in processed meats. And no, you don't have to change everything overnight. Start small. Replace that ham sandwich with a tuna salad dressed in olive oil and lemon. Swap that bacon side with a scrambled egg, a spoonful of hummus or roasted vegetables. These small, thoughtful changes build the foundation for strength one plate at a time, because every bite matters. And it's not just about avoiding what harms your muscles. It's about choosing what helps them heal, rebuild, and stay dependable. Even in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, your body hasn't stopped working for you. It still remembers how to regenerate, it just needs the right tools to do so. But just when you think you've covered all the obvious culprits, sugary drinks, processed meats, refined carbs, there's one more twist in the story. A food praised in every health magazine, recommended in nearly every diet plan, and widely considered a superfood. But when eaten the wrong way, it can quietly block the very nutrients your muscles depend on. Let's talk about spinach. Yes, spinach. The deep green leaf you've probably been told to eat more of. It's rich in iron, calcium, magnesium, and vitamin K. We associate it with strength, thanks in part to cartoons and decades of health advice. It's become a symbol of vitality, and in many ways, rightfully so. But like many good things, it depends on how and how much you consume. Here's the little-known twist: spinach, especially when eaten raw and in large quantities, contains high levels of a compound called oxalic acid, also called oxalates. This naturally occurring compound is found in other leafy greens too, like beet greens and Swiss chard, but spinach has particularly high concentrations. Why does this matter? Because oxalic acid has a unique property. It binds to essential minerals in your digestive system, especially calcium and magnesium. When this happens, your body can no longer absorb those minerals. They get locked away, unable to enter your bloodstream, and are passed out of your system unused. Now imagine this happening every day. A spinach smoothie in the morning, a raw spinach salad at lunch, day after day. You think you're fueling your strength, but instead your muscles are being slowly starved of two of the most important nutrients they need to function properly. Here's why it matters. Calcium is crucial for muscle contraction. Without enough, your muscles can't respond effectively to signals from your nervous system. Magnesium supports endurance and recovery. It's what helps your muscles relax after they've contracted. Without it, you'll feel tight, sore, and slow to bounce back. And over time, the impact builds. You may start to notice more leg cramps after walking, a twitching sensation in your calves or thighs, more soreness after activities that used to feel easy, slower recovery after even mild exertion. Worse still, a long-term deficiency in calcium can affect not just muscles, but bones. And that leads to a greater risk of fractures, falls, and bone loss, something no older adult can afford to ignore. So what's the solution? It's not about eliminating spinach or leafy greens. It's about preparing them wisely. Here's what helps cook your spinach. Light steaming, sautéing, or boiling significantly reduces oxalate levels, making those important minerals more bioavailable. Rotate your greens. Don't rely solely on spinach every day. Mix in other greens like kale, arugula, bok choy, or romaine, which have lower oxalate content. Pair your greens with calcium-rich foods. This increases the odds your body will absorb some of that calcium before the oxalates can bind it all up. And if you're blending spinach into a smoothie, use a small amount and combine it with non-oxalate-rich ingredients like berries, banana flax seeds, and almond butter. Because even a superfood can cause harm if misunderstood. Your goal isn't to fear food, it's to understand food, to learn how to work with your body, not against it. And every step you take, whether swapping deli meat for real chicken or steaming your spinach instead of eating it raw, is a step toward stronger, more reliable muscles. Coming up next, we'll take a closer look at another common healthy food, often hiding in plain sight in breakfast bowls and snack bars that may be silently sapping your energy and working against your strength goals. Stay with me. You're learning not just what to eat, but how to age strong, smart, and informed. As we just uncovered, even something as seemingly innocent as raw spinach can silently wear down your strength over time. But the effects of oxalates go beyond muscles. They ripple through your entire system, starting with your kidneys and ending with your energy. Let's go deeper. Muscle cramps don't just come out of nowhere. If they've become more frequent lately, if your legs tighten at night, or your feet cramp up during a short walk, it could be a mineral imbalance triggered by oxalates in your daily greens. These compounds bind calcium and magnesium, the very minerals your muscles rely on to contract and relax. Without them, your body struggles to regulate nerve signals, triggering spasms, cramps, and unexpected fatigue. And here's what many people don't realize: this isn't just about discomfort. Over time, high oxalate intake can lead to kidney stone formation, a condition that affects 1 in 10 people during their lifetime. For older adults, this risk is even higher, especially when hydration is low and oxalates are consumed daily. Why does that matter for your muscles? Because your kidneys play a central role in mineral balance. When they're overworked or inflamed, your entire muscular system suffers. The body becomes sluggish, strength declines, recovery slows. But there's another hidden layer: energy. Oxalates don't just interfere with minerals, they impact your cellular power supply. Inside each of your muscle cells is a compound called ATP, short for adenosine triphosphate. Think of ATP as the fuel that powers every movement, from lifting a glass to climbing stairs. Studies suggest that high levels of oxalates can disrupt mitochondrial function, slowing down ATP production. The result: fatigue sets in, faster recovery takes longer, and even minor effort leaves you feeling unusually drained. Maybe you felt it yourself. You climb a short flight of stairs and need to pause halfway. Or you carry groceries from the car and feel your arms trembling. It's not just age, it could be that your muscles are running on empty because they're not getting the minerals and cellular fuel they need. And yet, so many health-conscious seniors fall into this trap. They fill their blender with raw spinach day after day, believing they're doing the best thing for their body. Green smoothies, big salads, all with good intentions but unintentionally compounding the problem. So what's the fix? You don't have to give up spinach. It's still a powerful source of nutrition. But like many things, it needs preparation and balance. Here's what helps: lightly cook your spinach. Even gentle steaming or boiling can reduce oxalate levels by up to 40%. Drain the cooking water. That's where much of the released oxalate goes. By removing it, you reduce your body's burden. Don't rely on spinach daily. Rotate your greens. Include arugula, kale, romaine, butter lettuce, and bok choy. These greens are lower in oxalates and still packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. And when you do enjoy raw spinach, pair it with foods high in bioavailable calcium, low-fat dairy like plain Greek yogurt or kefir, tofu or tempeh, sesame seeds, chia seeds, or almonds. These combinations buffer the effects of oxalates and keep your calcium levels stable. That means fewer cramps, better muscle coordination, and more energy throughout your day. You see, strength isn't just about how much muscle you have. It's about what's happening beneath the surface: your mineral balance, your mitochondrial function, your recovery speed. And sometimes the foods we trust the most are the ones quietly tipping that balance in the wrong direction. Even a leafy green can have a hidden shadow. But spinach isn't the only everyday habit we need to examine, because coming up next is something even more familiar, something most of us consume not just daily, but first thing every morning. It's warm, it's comforting, and it's deeply embedded in American culture. We're talking about coffee. For millions of people, the day doesn't begin until that first sip. The aroma, the warmth, the calm before the morning rush. Coffee is more than a beverage. It's a ritual, a friend, a little joy tucked into the start of every day. And let's be clear, coffee in moderation isn't the enemy. In fact, it comes with some well-documented benefits: improved focus, alertness, even antioxidant support for the brain and heart. But here's where it gets tricky. Too much coffee, especially as we age, can quietly become a muscle saboteur. The reason lies in its diuretic effect. Caffeine prompts your body to eliminate more fluid, increasing urination and flushing water out of your system at a faster rate. And remember, muscles are made of nearly 70% water. When that hydration disappears, so does your strength. Think of it like this: would you expect a sponge to stay flexible and strong if it's dried out? Of course not. The same applies to your muscles. Without enough water, they cramp more. They tire faster. They take longer to recover. And if you're sipping coffee all day without balancing it with clean water, you might be walking around dehydrated without even knowing it. Add in the natural loss of thirst sensitivity that comes with aging, and you have a recipe for chronic low-level dehydration and muscle fatigue. But dehydration isn't the only concern. Coffee also impacts how your body absorbs minerals, including magnesium and calcium. These minerals are essential for muscle contractions, nerve function, bone health. When your mineral levels drop, you're not just dealing with cramps. You're looking at slower reflexes, less stability, and a higher risk of falls. If you've ever felt wobbly after standing or dizzy mid-morning, this could be part of the puzzle. And then there's sleep. Too much caffeine, especially after noon, disrupts your sleep cycle, and poor sleep, as we've already seen, weakens your muscles' ability to heal and regenerate. So what can you do? Limit coffee to 1 to 2 cups a day, preferably before noon. Drink a glass of water for every cup of coffee. Add a pinch of sea salt or electrolyte powder to 1 glass per day to help retain hydration. Consider alternating coffee days with herbal teas like ginger rooibos or peppermint gentle on the system and hydrating. And if you're using creamers or sugar-laden syrups, switch to natural sweeteners like cinnamon vanilla extract or unsweetened almond milk. Small changes, big wins. Because in the journey to protect your strength, nothing is off the table, not even your morning cup. Coming up next, a common pantry item many seniors rely on that's often labeled heart healthy, but can actually deplete your muscle protein synthesis when consumed too often. Curious? Let's turn the page and take one more honest look at the foods that shape your energy strength and independence after 60. As we just explored, that comforting cup of coffee in the morning isn't always the quiet companion we think it is. In fact, what you drink and how often you drink it can have a deep impact on your strength, energy, and ability to recover. Let's continue uncovering the hidden toll it can take. See, when you sip that warm brew, you're not just losing fluids through its diuretic effect. You're also flushing out key minerals calcium and magnesium. These two minerals aren't just helpful, they're essential. Without calcium, your muscles can't contract properly. Without magnesium, they can't relax. That delicate rhythm of tension and release, so crucial for everything from walking to lifting a spoon, begins to falter. What starts as minor cramps, occasional twitching, or a little stiffness in the knees, it slowly turns into deep fatigue and reduced function. You might think, well, I'm just getting older. But the truth is, it's not just aging, it's imbalance. Here's something even more concerning: caffeine's effect on your stress hormones. Every time you drink coffee, especially when you haven't eaten or you're feeling anxious, your body releases a surge of cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol was designed to help us escape danger, converting stored energy into action. But in today's world, where we're not outrunning predators but sitting in traffic or answering emails, that same cortisol, it tears down muscle. When cortisol levels stay high, your body breaks down muscle protein to release quick energy. And if this happens day after day, cup after cup, your muscles weaken. They don't rebuild. They shrink slowly, quietly. But cortisol isn't working alone. Coffee also interferes with the body's most important repair process, sleep. You may already know that sleep is important, but here's the deeper truth. Muscle recovery doesn't happen when you're awake. It doesn't happen when you're stretching or even when you're eating. It happens when you sleep deeply, particularly during slow-wave sleep, the stage when your brain slows down and your body begins its night shift. During this phase, the body releases growth hormone, which helps repair tissues, restore muscle fibers, and rebuild strength from the cellular level. But caffeine, it shortens this window. Even if you fall asleep easily, caffeine lingers in your bloodstream. It disrupts the cycle, preventing you from reaching the depth of rest your muscles desperately need. Over time, your good night's sleep becomes shallow. You wake up not quite rested. Your legs still feel tired. Your back still aches. You think you're just aging, but your body's never getting the deep rest it needs to rebuild. And there's more. Coffee is acidic. For many older adults, especially those with sensitive digestion or chronic inflammation, acidity can irritate the stomach, interfere with nutrient absorption, and worsen joint pain. Your gut, where most nutrient absorption happens, becomes less efficient. And when absorption falters, your muscles don't get the nutrients they need, even if you're eating well. So what can you do about it? Here's the hopeful news. You don't have to give up coffee, but you do need to be strategic. Limit your intake to 1 to 2 cups a day. Drink it after a small meal to buffer its effects on your hormones. Avoid it after 2 p.m. That's when caffeine begins to interfere most with sleep cycles. Hydrate alongside it. For every cup of coffee, drink a glass of water to counteract its dehydrating effects. Looking for a warm beverage later in the day? Consider green tea lower in caffeine and rich in L-theanine, which supports both focus and relaxation. Or sip on herbal teas like chamomile peppermint or ginger. These are soothing, mineral-friendly, and they support digestion and calm. But perhaps the most powerful thing you can do to balance coffee's effects is to replenish what it takes away. Include these in your daily meals. Cooked leafy greens like kale and collard greens lower in oxalates than raw spinach. Nuts and seeds, almonds, walnuts, chia sesame, all high in magnesium and trace minerals. Beans and lentils, great for both plant protein and mineral content. Mineral-rich water or a pinch of sea salt in your water to restore electrolytes. These small additions help your muscles stay hydrated, supple, and strong even if you're still enjoying your morning cup. Because your body is always working with you, it just needs the right inputs to do its job. Coffee isn't the enemy, but over-reliance, especially without balance, can rob you of the strength and stability you've worked so hard to preserve. And here's a question to ask yourself tomorrow morning. Are you reaching for coffee out of routine or because your body truly needs it? Listen to your body, then feed it, hydrate it, move it, and rest it on its terms. Because staying strong after 60 isn't about willpower, it's about wisdom. Coming up next, a grain praised as heart-healthy, but quietly undermining your ability to build lean muscle. You might be shocked to learn it's something you've likely eaten for decades thinking it was helping. Let's uncover what's next. Because strength isn't built in one grand moment. It's protected in the quiet choices we make every single day. Not just in the gym or at the dinner table, but sip by sip, bite by bite, thought by thought. And now that we've walked this journey together, let's pause and look back with clarity, not regret. White bread and refined flours, once a breakfast staple, now understood as silent saboteurs of our blood sugar and muscle repair. Fruit juices so bright and familiar, stripped of their fiber, flooding the bloodstream with sugar and leaving the liver overwhelmed, the muscles unfed. Processed meats, those salty, easy-to-reach slices coated with preservatives that stoke inflammation and slowly starve our cells of oxygen and strength. Raw spinach in excess. Yes, even this superfood locking away minerals. Our muscles depend on contributing not to vitality, but to imbalance. And coffee, comforting, dependable, and yes, a friend in moderation, when taken too late too often, quietly disrupts our deepest sleep and leaves our muscles aching for rest and repair. None of these things are obvious villains. They're common. They're familiar. They're the backdrop of daily life. And that's exactly why they're so dangerous. They hide in plain sight. But here's the quiet, beautiful truth. You're not too late. Your body hasn't stopped listening. It hasn't given up on you. Even now in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, it's adapting. It's waiting for you to say, let's try again. And that doesn't require perfection. It requires presence, a moment of awareness, a choice. Swap refined carbs for whole grains. Trade fruit juice for blended smoothies with the fiber intact. Let go of that cold-cut sandwich and make room for a warm bowl of lentils or grilled salmon. Choose rest, deep nourishing sleep over late-night screen time or that extra cup of coffee. Not all at once, just one small step at a time. Because muscle strength isn't just the ability to lift something heavy. It's the ability to lift yourself, to rise out of a chair without wobbling, to carry groceries with confidence, to walk to the mailbox and back without a second thought. It's the power to keep living life on your terms. So now ask yourself gently, which of these hidden habits surprised you the most? And more importantly, which one will you begin changing today? Share this message with someone you care about, a spouse, a sibling, a neighbor. Because while aging is a journey we each walk individually, we're not meant to walk it alone. We're still here, still moving, still living, and we deserve to live strong. And if this story resonated with you, if it gave you even one moment of clarity or strength, then join us here at Life After 60 today. Subscribe now for weekly guidance rooted in wisdom, backed by science, and told with heart. Let's grow stronger, smarter, and more independent together, because the journey doesn't end at 60. In many ways, it's just beginning.